Good morning, family. Well, I woke up this morning, shouts, and then you text us on the back 20. Go check out his channel. Um, Nelson Militia, go check out his channel too. But I was thinking this morning as I was building my morning stump fire, burning stumps out of the ground, cleaning up all the bullshit laying around and just throwing it on. Got a lot of trees to clear out. So we've started it. We're going to continue to do it until the majority of them's out of here. But anyway, garbage too. Still finding trash on the property. Been picking up trash for, 9 months now? But anywho, and I was thinking this morning, like, where does your mind have to be, or where was my mind at one time when I let everybody else think for me? Or I only thought to a particular point, and then I couldn't break down the problem or the topic at hand any further than what I've been told I'm allowed to break it down to. So we now have people who claim to be patriots. Self-proclamation there. Should tell you something about people when they claim to be some shit. But I was thinking about that, and like, how do you just really not see it? Especially when you make the claim that if you had been alive in 1775, you would have been fighting the Redcoats. But just prior to saying this, you are saying, well, I can't help it. Talking about, I guess, people who've been in trouble before or whatever, and then act as if they somehow think it's everybody else's fault or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, you were just talking about how they needed to be punished as if they were a child for not obeying the rules. What do you think the fucking rules were in the early 1770s? What do you think the law was in the early 1770s? And what do you think you would have been if you would have defied those laws in the early 1770s? So you can't rag on people for not going with the social norm or doing as they're told today, and then claim that you wouldn't have went with the social norm and wouldn't have done what you were told then. Like, that's not how it works. You can't play both sides of the fence. Talk about fence sitters. Like, you don't even know where the fuck you stand at, dude. And he's going to watch this, and he's going to know who he is. And most of you people will, too. Most of you guys know who I'm talking about, too. But it just blows my mind, but we've been trained to think like this. We've been trained to believe that, we know everything because the TV told us. We know everything because we researched one small part of one topic. It's just not the case. Well, I don't like that person, so he's not telling the truth. Or I don't like that person, so I can't believe what he says. Or I don't like that person, so I can't research what he says. Like, that's where we're at today, man, and it's a cold world, And that's why freedom is dead, to never be seen again by mankind in history, mainly because of those who believe they are doing good, yet are not. So this person claimed that he would fight for America. Believes in America, and he does what right, and he's a patriot. What do you think fucking the Gestapo thought when they were doing what they were doing? What do you think the SS thought when they were doing what they were doing? They were being good Germans, fighting for Germany, right? For the foundation of Germany, right? Just saying. Just saying. I am not free if I do not have the ability to do as I choose. And take that as far as you want. I'm willing to go so far with it that I will say, as long as you're not violating anyone else's rights, you're free to do as you choose. I don't care. I just do not give a shit what you do. But there are people in this country who do care what you do. For a multitude of reasons. Some people are just Karens. Other people like accepting extortion payments that have been granted to them through a means of extortion, i.e., them and their buddies extort people. This is the same person who, if told to, will evict someone from property that they outright own because they don't pay the king's ransom or the taxes on their property taxes. I'm not represented by this government in any way. There's no one who represents me. You know, if you read our Constitution and you actually understand how to read it, so you can't, like, just reading the Constitution is not enough, because if you don't first have at least a generalized ideal of what freedom is, then it's not going to make any sense to you. You know, because you can't, the Constitution was put into place to create a federal government, and restrict by the restrictions we placed on it, created said government. It's our Constitution. It is mine. It is yours. You don't get to dictate what you believe it says no more than government does. And you are now a part of government. At least this one person is, anyway. And as a government agent, you have no rights. Government doesn't have rights. You gave up those rights in order to be government. You can't really give up rights unless you become government, because government has no rights. But the SS and the Gestapo, the Redcoats, NKVD under Stalin, Red Army under Mao, they were all great patriots for their country, fighting for the foundations of those countries as they knew them. Can't forget to add that. As they knew them. Just as this person, what he believes the foundations of this country are, and what he believes is so far off of the truth, is just, it's the stupidity is mind-numbing. It just blows my mind. I'm pro-freedom, and I'm pro my Second Amendment rights, but if you don't do as you're told, government gonna take them rights, and I'm gonna arrest you if you decide to defy government. Was I just making fun of the Redcoats? Or was I just making fun of modern day cops and sheriffs? Just saying. Just saying. Hopefully a time will come when people recognize what cops are. We have no need for police. Anybody who's read any of Jefferson's writing could, the dude talks about self-governance only however many times, in his letters especially, and what that is, and how, one as far as to say, like, how all this stuff is supposed to be taken care of. The verifiable information is fucking there by the dude who is behind our Constitution. The guy who had the most input on it wrote about these things. You could read them for yourself. You're not going to fucking find them on Google anymore. Google scrubbed all that shit. There's a particular letter I read from Jefferson, I don't know, a few years ago. This was back. There's a video after Lavoie Finicum died. One of those channels associated with Finicum, where the guy was reading the quotes from this letter. So it's not like I'm the only person who's ever seen it. And how he went on to explain how, communities deal with criminals, deputization of militia members, shit like that. Yeah, but nobody else has read this information because they don't need to look for it. They know what's going on. They know the facts. Ask them, they'll tell you. They're American patriots. America, like, I get it, when the founders were here pre-founding, maybe a little after, they referred to this country as America. It is no longer America. America is either one of two continents, North America, South America. Um, the United States is this country. So when you refer to the country as America, it just shows your willingness to just repeat shit. Sounded good, so you repeat it. Just like must Second Amendment rights. Like, especially coming from this dude. Dude, you don't even believe in rights, man. You believe in the God you call government. You're not a Christian by any means. God gave man the right to defend himself by any means necessary. Yet government says some men are not worthy of that right. And you enforce that. You enforce man's law over God's law. You don't even know what God's law is. We've been down this road already. Guess we'll go down it again. Maybe go down it the 20th and 30th time too if we have to, just to try to get it to sink into your tiny little brain. And I know talking like that to people isn't going to get them on my side, but I'm smart enough to know when people are just fucking enemies. And like you would almost think that people would think for themselves, like, wait a second, this dude just wants to be left alone and live his life, and that's all he wants for everybody else. Like, he wants legitimate freedom. So what's he really talking about, and where does this information come from? Is it really there? Should I go look for it? When I find it, should I read it? Should I repeat it? Or should I just stay on the path I'm on and keep supporting shit that's completely fucking immoral, completely unconstitutional, just because I don't know of a better way? You know, I'm convinced that these people, there's a lot of people like this who would fear a world without cops. And there's multiple reasons for that, why they would fear a world without cops. One is they don't think that they would survive. Whatever they've amassed, they know that they wouldn't be able to keep because there are people out there that would take it from them. What they don't realize, though, is that if they were decent human beings, the other decent human beings would not allow that to happen. You know, you ever heard the saying that freedom is dangerous? Our founders, you know, I'll take dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. You can keep that fucking peaceful slavery shit because there's nothing really peaceful about it. It's an oxymoron. There's nothing peaceful about slavery, as we see today. You know, and I've had all this challenge. I've had challenges up for years that nobody will even attempt to take up. Cops who took an oath. How many cops are there in this country who took an oath to our Constitution, right? First off, they didn't take an oath to our Constitution. They took an oath to the political state and to do what their political masters tell them to do whatever whoever fucking signs their checks. That's what they took an oath to. The country today proves that. The cops wouldn't have been arresting grandmas and playgrounds and moms and playgrounds, and if they wouldn't have been arresting restaurant owners for having their restaurant open, this country would not be in the fucking turmoil that it is right now economically. But they did. All the good ones. They must have been on vacation. They must have been on sea virus leave or some shit. Lost my train of thought, sorry. But, you know, it's an unwinnable battle at this point. You know, it's the impossible task. You know, I've been given the impossible task to try to educate people about what freedom is. And it is. It's an impossible task. Occasionally people will catch on, but then you still have, you know, you have to still work on that. You know, Dry Fire Faith and I a while back got into a conversation about, you know, I use drinking and driving. I try to use things that nobody can support, but we all should support. Drinking and driving. I've said it 100 times. I think drinking and driving is irresponsible. I think it puts people at risk. I think it's dangerous. And if you drink and drive, what's the problem? Well, nothing as long as you harm nobody. But it's not about what you do. It's about what you could do based on other people's actions prior to you, right? So if you support drinking and driving laws, if you support somebody who has drank however much, whatever arbitrary number the government puts on it, and says that you're drunk, if you support them being arrested for doing nothing more than going from one place to another on a road that they pay for and harming no one, then you support the same argument being used to take guns. It's about what you could do, right? It's not about what you've done. And just because you own a gun, i.e., just because you drink and get on the road, you could kill somebody. But freedom, I can make the choice. Somebody who's drinking can't make a choice and blah. Says who? You? It's the same argument. In both cases, it's the very same argument. But you can't think that far into it because you haven't been told to. This is why certain people are out probably, arresting people for drinking and driving today. Because they don't even have a basic understanding of what freedom is. If you drink and drive and you kill somebody in a car wreck, you should probably be punished. Probably the same way that if you wasn't drinking and driving and you kill somebody in a car wreck, that's your fault. If the accident's your fault, it's your fault. Doesn't matter if you're drunk, high, stoned, sober, sleeping behind the wheel. Doesn't matter. It was your fault. But you shouldn't be punished in the way that you're punished today. All these systems have been created long before we were here. And they were allowed to be created to ease the burden on people in their own minds. We can hire these good cops who will take an oath to protect us. They're promising. They promise to protect us. That's what that oath is. They promise to protect our Constitution and defend it from all enemies, foreign and domestic, except for themselves and their political masters. As they arrest people, oppress people, cage people, kidnap people, kill people, murder people, who otherwise we never would have heard of. Like just labeling yourself a patriot because it sounds fucking cool to you is the stupidest shit in the world. You're not a patriot. Anybody today who calls themselves a patriot is not a fucking patriot. And like I said, I've met one person in my life that I would go as far as to say that they are a patriot. Now, I'm not saying there's not some people who don't do things that could be considered patriotic. But does that make them a patriot? I'm a hero. Stand beside me and call yourself a hero. We'll be heroes together. And then anybody who says we're not heroes, well, we'll just shout them down and act like they're the enemy and they're a criminal, and we're heroes. Just fuck you. We're heroes. But just calling yourself something doesn't make you that thing. And if you believe it does, you're truly ignorant. And we kind of already know that. We've established that you're pretty fucking ignorant. But anyway, whoever made it through this far, I hope you have a great day today. Live free, man. Just live your life however you choose to live it. Do whatever you choose to do. Own whatever you choose to own. Don't give in to the fear. When people fear, it's not that they actually fear government. Politicians and ink pens, there's nothing to be afraid of. What do people fear? They fear being caged. They fear being kidnapped. They fear being murdered by a government bullet shot at them by some prick wearing a badge. I started to say a minute ago, I've had all these challenges. I challenge anybody to tell me one issue you have with government that doesn't involve some dickhead that's wearing a badge. Or some dickhead that's backed up by some dickhead that's wearing a badge. What's up, Chicky? Where's my eggs, bitch? You better get the laying. I don't get 6 eggs today. I'm only gonna have 5 hens tomorrow. We're not gonna keep doing this shit. I ain't gonna be feeding you. You ain't gonna be giving no damn eggs. It's been hot out. They don't like laying eggs when it's hot out. What? We're back talking. Yeah, when I break your neck, I'm skinning that head right there and keeping that little red thing that's flapping around, whatever the hell it's called. Cite where in our Constitution that we the people, again that includes me, gave government the authority to police us. And let's just say that it existed, which it doesn't. Where do I opt out since I'm so free? Because the foundation of this country, the very core foundation of this country is freedom. Okay, where do I opt out at? The impossible tasks, right? And that's what I'm giving all you fucking pigs out there. The impossible task. The task of answering questions that you cannot answer. At least not how you want to answer them anyway. There's an answer for all of it. Normally it's that it doesn't exist. It's not true. We've been lied to. This rooster will ain't shit. This pile of stuff. Now look at her. She thinks she's found something. She's going to go try to steal it from him. He lets her have it, whatever's there. He's a good rooster. Every day at 4:10, he is cock-a-doodle doodling. Right at 4:10, between like 4:08 and 4:11. And then also please explain how you are a patriot or how you are here to protect and serve when every single dollar that you are paid for your employment, every single penny you are paid has been extorted from the people that you claim to protect. Just saying. The SS thought that they were patriots too. They thought that they were fighting for the foundation of Germany, just like the Gestapo did. Just like the Redcoats were fighting for the foundations of Britain. You know, because these criminals over here need to follow the rule, or else we're going to treat them like children. If you're a cop today, you're a redcoat. Plain and simple. Doesn't matter how many followers you have on YouTube. Ain't nobody give a fuck about followers on YouTube. Not when it pertains to like a number. I got great friends that I met because of this channel. But when it comes to a number, like, oh my God, I got 5,000 people follow me. Okay, so you got 5,000 people that follow you. That's great. Yet you have no motherfucking friends in real life. We've proven that one. YouTube land isn't real land. And just because even if you had 2 million followers like that fuckhead Tatum, it just means that there's 2 million people who are stupid enough to listen to your fucking bullshit. Especially your bullshit. God damn. You're like the leader of the fucking retard clan. That's what y'all should start calling yourselves. Fucking clan of retards. The fucking red helmet crew. I can see you now when the world ends, everybody putting on their red helmets just with you. Marching around town. You still wearing your fucking sheriff's badge like Rick from The Walking Dead. Your old 6-shooter on. Riding that old broke down pony that can barely carry your fat ass. Probably got that fat bitch on the back of it. Throw a second saddle on it. Driving an old piece of shit car. Where the fuck it is. Anyway, I'm going to go have a great day today, live my life. I choose to live it. And I'm not going to follow any government rules. I'm just going to live my life. And if by doing so, I happen to remain within those rules, it's not because I'm following the rules. It's just because I'm just living my life and it just happened to turn out that way. Unlike some dick suckers who followed the rules a lot and then enforced the rules on other people. I almost bet a bunch of these clowns, specifically this clown, I would bet a leg right now that he is breaking the law as he enforces the law. He's one of those dudes. You can tell the personality. Complete piece of shit.